So the state just gave their closing argument, essentially saying that Lori Vallow was a co-conspirator with her brother Alex Cox in trying to murder Brandon Boudreaux. Now, the murder wasn't successful. This was a failed murder, thank goodness. And the state is arguing that Lori is one of the few people who knew where Brandon Boudreaux lived. Brandon Boudreaux had just moved to this rental property a couple days ago, and there was only 5 people that knew. There was his neighbors, Melanie, who people think are involved in this as well, and Brandon Boudreaux's friends. Brandon had just conveniently dropped off the children at school and with Melanie, and they knew his schedule and they knew exactly when the children weren't going to be there and were going to be out of harm's way. Additionally, the vehicle that was spotted and used to murder Brandon Boudreaux was Lori Vallow's Jeep. That Jeep had Texas tags on it, and the car already had tints on it. However, Lori and Alex Cox decided to get the Jeep even more tinted. There's also Lori attempting to generate a fake alibi for her brother by holding on to his personal phone while he was in Arizona. He had a burner phone. Before they attempted to murder Brandon Boudreaux, there was a fake 24-minute phone call that the state alleges Lori using the phone to call her brother's phone to pretend that the brother was actually in Idaho and not in Arizona. So Lori's going to come up and do the closing arguments, and Lori's going to start sobbing a little bit. We're going to start hearing the same things that Lori said in her previous trial. She's going to blame everyone. She's going to say it's not her fault. She's going to say that, why me? Essentially giving herself the victim role. How many objections will we get during Lori's closing arguments? We got 44 votes. 22 people said 0, or 22 people. 22% said 0. 14% say 1 through 5. 43% say 6 through 10. That's what I'm leaning towards. And then 41% of you guys say 10 plus. So let's try to keep track. Let's do a new poll. New poll. Well, I guess there's no point because the jury has already gone home today. All right, so the jury, they went home and they're going to continue to come back and deliberate tomorrow at 10 a.m. All right, let's go. Come on, madam. This might be the last that we hear from you. You're gonna start crying.
When a family breaks apart, it is a tragedy.
Oh, God.
With a devastation far-reaching, affecting many people. I am not exempt from tragedy, none of us are. But what we learn from it is most important. Because of this experience, I've studied the law and the judicial system, and that knowledge will stay with me forever.
Did you really gain anything from this, though, from you studying the law and the judicial system? Also, these tragedies were created by your dumbass and your fucking brother and your lover, who's now sitting in jail for death row.
Experience tragedy, we can grow stronger from the experiences, and then those experiences are not all negative.
That's how she justifies killing her kids, by the way. Like, oh, well, their kids are dead, but at least, I'm sure something positive would come out of it. We grow stronger.
You would think that often people in my position would feel defensive or angry. And from where I'm standing, I understand that very well. But I don't feel any of those things.
Oh, it's because I'm in front of the jury. I'm not supposed to feel that way or look that way. No, we've seen the defensiveness. We've seen the anger. Don't lie, Lori.
I think that often people in my position would feel defensive or angry. And from where I'm standing, I understand that very well. But I don't feel any of those things.
Liar.
You have watched me under pressure, under scrutiny, and even under attack. And I have shown you that I'm not on any of those things.
I'm going to object to character evidence and testimony that's not in evidence.
Ms. Daybell, could I have you pull that microphone a little closer, please?
Objection 1.
You can't be upset with people who are forced to look at your life from a distance or judge it through a lens that's being intentionally distorted or being at least very limited. Like the lens the state has shown you on this event.
I think she was starting to cry a little bit, but then she lost her steam when the objection happened. I think it dried up.
like the lens the state has shown you on this event. There's so much more going on that is not included to your view. The law prevents some of these things from being shared
I'm
in
going to
trial.
object, Your Honor, to improper.
Sustained.
You have seen opinions formed by strangers trying to put together a narrative. I have shown you that basically there is no defense.
True. You did show us that there was basically no defense. Thank you. You didn't call anyone. Your cross-examination sucked. Yeah, that's exactly. I agree with you on that. One thing I agree with Lori about.
Opinions formed by strangers trying to put together a narrative. I have shown you that basically there is no defense to what a person did not do or did not participate in. Other than what you've seen, which is no evidence that I made an agreement to commit a crime, because no such evidence exists. So I'm not defensive. I'm not angry. Nobody has all the pieces to this puzzle. It is complex. Like most families, this is a complex issue. And like the state, I was not there. But there is no agreement, no plan, no gain. I am no stranger to tragedy. The breaking up of a family is tragedy. On June 25th, 2019, Brandon Boudreau decided that I was responsible for his family tragedy. And I'm really sorry that he feels that way.
No, Your Honor, I'm going to object again to testimony.
All right. The jury is reminded that what is said in closing statements or closing arguments is not evidence. It is not testimony. The intent of the
Brandon has had 6 years now. 6 years to process all this. He's not going to let you gaslight him. You can keep trying, Lori. You can keep trying. You can keep trying to convince the world and people around you that you weren't the cause of all this, but you fucking were.
Boudreau decided that I was responsible for his family tragedy. And I'm really sorry that he feels that way.
No, Your Honor, I'm going to object again to testimony.
All right. The jury is reminded that what is said in closing statements or closing arguments is not evidence. It is not testimony. The intent of the closing argument is for each side to argue what the evidence shows. Go ahead.
I did and have supported my niece Melanie when she suffered tragedy as a young child and during this terribly difficult time in 2019.
That you caused?
We read the text from Brandon to me on June 25th, 2019, where he claims that he will never stop until he proves that I am responsible. Well, here we are, almost 6 years later, and I'm charged with conspiracy to commit first-degree murder.
Oh, blame it on the victim. What a sad story. This is so unbelievable. I mean, it's just as bad as her Idaho sentencing. She gave like a little speech about how it was a family tragedy and how people commit suicides and how there's accidents and deaths. Basically saying that she's not responsible for anything. It's the same thing here.
In order to have a conspiracy, 2 or more people have to make an agreement to commit a crime.
There's 3.
There is no such agreement between me and my brother Alex.
And Chad.
Although I did love my brother Alex.
And I'm going to object again, Your Honor, to testifying.
Sustained.
There is no agreement that was shown to you between
Y'all had a strange relationship.
Your Honor, to testifying.
Sustained.
There is no agreement that was shown to you between myself and Melanie Boudreau, although I love Melanie.
And I'm going to object again to testifying.
Sustained.
I cannot tell you what happened that day on October 2nd, 2019, because I was not there.
And I'm going to again object to testifying, and please strike everything the defendant has said.
All right.
It's already too late, though. The jury has already heard it. I think we're on the 6th objection right now. I think that was 6.
The defendant is admonished you cannot argue things that were not admitted into evidence.
Ma'am, you should have just fucking testified, okay? Just fucking testify next time. Do it. There's no more next time. This is her last trial. Assuming that the appeals are, none of them are going to have her convictions overturned. I know, she just keeps on going because she doesn't understand what's happening. She just keeps on going. She just steamrolls over.
The prosecutor wasn't there. Law enforcement wasn't there. Only Brandon knows what happened before he called 911.
It's the same speech you gave
Only
in the
Brand-
last one. Y'all weren't fucking there. Y'all don't know what happened. I was there. Everyone else who was there, well, they're dead now, but not because of me. You know, they died of natural causes, or they did it to themselves, or it was a family tragedy. But y'all weren't there. This is the same argument. Trina must be rolling her eyes so hard right now. Trina, we're here with you.
The prosecutor wasn't there. Law enforcement wasn't there. Only Brandon knows what happened before he called 911. Only Brandon said he will not stop. The fact that I supported Melanie in her time of need does not make me against Brandon. I had nothing to gain by Brandon being hurt. Brandon has worked with law enforcement for almost 6 years to make sure that I pay a consequence.
I'm going to object to misstating the evidence.
Sustained. The jury will determine what the evidence did and did not show.
Your job is to determine
7.
if I committed a crime, this crime, a conspiracy, an agreement, not cleaning out a garage, but an agreement to commit murder. You did not see an agreement. You did not hear an agreement.
Look at the judge's face. Remember, in the jury instruction, the judge says that the conspiracy can be inferred. There does not need to be a formal meeting.
You heard Detective Duncan say that he had spent hundreds of hours going over my iCloud accounts. They have 19 years of my accounts, text messages,
And I'm going to object to
calls.
misstates the evidence and no.
If there was an agreement.
Hold on.
I don't think they have 19 years worth of her shit. Also, when they do the search warrants, they usually have like a time frame they're looking at. But 19 years, you like never changed out phones or anything. Where iPhones haven't even been out for 19 years.
The objection sustained. The jury is reminded that they will determine what the evidence did and did not show. Go ahead.
If there was an agreement, they would have showed it to you. There is no agreement.
So you're saying it has to be in like a formal writing, like a contract. Okay, I, Alex Cox, will murder Brandon Boudreau on behest of Lori Vallow, my sister that I love very much and worship, and Chad. Lauren Fire.
We've all experienced tragedies in our lives,
Oh boy.
and naturally people want someone to blame,
Oh, boy.
someone to pay a price. My brother is no longer here. We can't ask him about that day. There were things presented in this case that I did not know.
And I'm going to object again to testifying, Your Honor, and ask to strike.
Sustained.
9.
Things that I saw, I thought,
And again, I'm going to already ask to strike.
All right. The defendant cannot testify to things that were not testified to from the witness stand.
Shit, we got Ted.
because this is the theory the prosecutor wants you to see, it is limited. How can we say clearly when the law only allows for a skewed view of things? The devastation this family has gone through is the tragedy. After almost 6 years, it's time for healing. Thank you.
State wish to give a rebuttal, close.
Thank you.
All right, the state has the burden to prove.
What an easy thing to say. You're the cause of all the issues. You're the cause of all the hurt, the deaths. After 6 years, it is time for us to all heal. It's like, yeah, no shit you want to heal. You're the one who caused everything. I don't know. Ugh. Hater.
The defendant guilty, and since they have that burden, they have the right to open and close the argument. Go ahead.
And I do want to reiterate, usually I will give defendants the benefit of the doubt. I will. I'm probably a lot less bitchier, but man, with Lori Vallow, it's just really fucking hard because we know Lori. We know what she's done. We know she's been accused of. We know what she's been convicted of. She's a piece of shit. I fucking hate her. She's horrible.
The defendant wants you to think that Brandon has it out for her. She has tried to insinuate that Brandon was involved with working with Detective Pillar for years just to get her. But what you heard was that Brandon has actually been working with law enforcement on multiple investigations. And that in fact, Melanie Boudreau is a subject of multiple investigations.
Yikes.
So again, as the defendant sits up here and tries to portray and paint a picture for you of her innocence and sadness and family tragedy, she again misrepresents what was told to you at trial. She tells you there was no plan, but she ignores the facts and the evidence of a very obvious long plan. A plan that started when she began, this defendant, Lori Vallow, meddling in Melanie and Brandon's marriage. And when that marriage was finally ending, this defendant continued to help her niece, Melanie. She continued to aid her. And what we see in every one of these bits of evidence is a core group of people. This defendant, her brother Alex, Melanie Boudreau, and Chad Daybell. The four of them working together. Do we need to have words, a video? No, we do not. That is why there is that jury instruction on direct and circumstantial evidence, because you look at what is going on here, and it screams to you a conspiracy by this defendant, by Melanie Boudreau, by Alex Cox, and by Chad Daybell to kill Brandon Boudreau. Every action you see there, the defendant would like you to look at them individually and pretend that they don't all point to what happened on October 2nd. But everything they did leading up to then shows you a way to cover up and prepare for the murder of Brandon Boudreau. When we talk about a plan and this defendant's actions, the most obvious and screaming piece of information is this defendant holding on to her brother's phone for days, holding on to the 480-351-9120 number.
Damn, she got it memorized too.
For days while her brother is gone with her Jeep, without the rear tire, without the back seat, with a gun with him. That is part of the plan. That is the assisting, that is the promoting, that is the conspiracy that this defendant wants you to pretend doesn't exist. We don't need words. We have actions that are obvious, and they're done by this defendant and her co-conspirators. The state asks you to look at everything together, regardless of how many people want to cry up here, regardless of how many people want to try to testify. This is not evidence. What is evidence is what was presented to you in trial, and each piece of that tells you this defendant is guilty.
Ooh, you know Lori's going to include this, right? So Lori, after her other Arizona trial, she wanted to basically have a new trial, put in a motion for a new trial. So I'm assuming she might do the same for this one, you know, because everything with Lori's like, I'm going to ask the judge to recuse. I'm going to ask the judge who oversaw that motion to recuse to also recuse. So Lori's probably going to put in a motion motion for a new trial for this case as well. And she'll probably talk about how Kay was just so mean to her, or Trina was so mean to her in closing arguments. Because Trina brought up the fake crying last time, and Lori definitely brought that up in her motion. Yeah. Lori's not fooling anyone. You're fucking not fooling anyone. Is the rear tire the spare tire? Yes, I believe so. Like a spare tire that you have on the back of the Jeep.
And so I ask you to find her guilty of the conspiracy to commit murder against Brandon Boudreaux. Thank you.
And then we're getting the zoom in at the pendant. Sorry, no fan in this courtroom. Y'all are disappointed. Now, the jury, I don't know if they were deliberating for a little bit, for like 20 minutes, but my assumption is that they just decided to go back home today, to go early. And then they're just going to deliberate the rest of tomorrow at 10 a.m. So tomorrow we will be on jury verdict watch. I will try to go live as soon as I find out when the verdict is out. Guys, have your notifications on or join the Discord. Have the notifications on for Discord as well. I will do a Discord notification when I'm about to go live, and then we'll be live on the YouTube. That's a link for the Discord if you guys want to join in. Guys, hit the like button if you guys enjoyed the stream today, hanging out with us.